you'll have a sheet with pictures on that looks like this one. What I want you to do is organise these species into 3 groups. Now, I'm not going to tell you the name of these groups at the moment, and I want you to think of names for them. So you can either write on your sheet, or you can cut them out and arrange them. You're going to pause the video here and see what you can come up with. So by now you should hopefully have put all of your pictures into 3 groups. What we were looking for is plants, animals and microorganisms. Microorganisms is not the true scientific grouping, but in this context we're using it to describe the kingdoms of Monera, Protista and fungi. It's also worth noting that just because they are microorganisms doesn't mean they might not be quite large, like many fungi species.
Here we're going to try to classify all living things. Can you put the words numbered 1 to 7 on this slide in the correct box on your activity sheet?
So for this next activity, you're going to be searching for invertebrates outside. That could be in your garden or in your local area. But what is an invertebrate? So that's an animal without a backbone, and they make up over 90% of the species in the world. We're a vertebrate as we have got a backbone down our back, and so are mammals, birds, reptiles, amphibians and fish. But you're going to be looking for invertebrates. So have a think about what creatures you think you might find that are invertebrates and where you might look to find them. So hopefully you've had a think about where you could look for creatures and what you might be able to find. You could look under logs, in the leaf litter, up in the trees and lots more places. When you find an invertebrate, you can either leave it where it is and observe it there, or you can put it in some kind of container. If you're collecting them in a container, it's important when you collect them and put them back to do it carefully. Make sure you put them back where you found them, make sure there's only one creature in it at a time, and make sure that you don't leave them in there for too long. So for this activity, you're going to need 2 sheets. The first is your identification sheet, and you're going to use this to work out what invertebrates you find. If you want to be a bit more precise, you could take a photograph or write a description of the creature and look it up later on. The next one is your activity sheet. So this is a sheet you're going to use to record all of the invertebrates that you find, and you're going to see how to classify them. This is an example of a dichotomous key.
So you're going to be classifying your invertebrates into these 6 groups: mollusk, annelid worm, crustacean, myriapod, arachnid and insect. Now there is a separate sheet for you that does give you examples of the invertebrates that you might find and which of these groups they would go into.
So now we're going to see how it works with examples. So you start off at the top with the question, does the invertebrate have legs? And then work your way down the rest of the questions with each species that you find. So we're going to use the example of an ant, and here I can see that there are legs. So I'll go down to yes, and it says, does the invertebrate have exactly 6 legs and or wings? And I can see from the picture that it does. So I would go along and it would tell me that it's an insect. So I'd write ant in the insect box. Now this is a picture of a slug. Now looking at it, I can see it's got no legs. So going back to our sheet, I would go this side to no. The next question is, does the invertebrate have a body divided into sections? Now looking at the picture, I can see that it hasn't, so I would go down to no, and it tells me that a slug is a mollusk. So I would write slug in the mollusk box.